Cook's Mills is a small community in the easternmost part of the city of Welland in Ontario, Canada. It was established, and is still centered, on a Welland River tributary called Lyons Creek. It is almost entirely a bedroom community, as there are few employers located in the area. History. The community predates the establishment of what is now downtown Welland. In 1799, when present-day Welland was farmland, the Yocombe family came from Pennsylvania and built a grist mill on Lyons Creek. Just before the War of 1812, an Englishman called Calvin Cook purchased the mill and added a tannery, a sawmill and a distillery. The place known as Cook's Mills became a prominent community of the Crowland Township. Some early maps call the location Crowland Village. Towards the end of the War of 1812, a firefight occurred at Cook's Mills, involving an American contingent sent to destroy flour and grain that might benefit the British. Early on the morning of October 19, 1814, the American picket at Missenna's Hollow, just east of the mills, was attacked by soldiers of the Glengarry Light Infantry. The British force was supported by a 6-pound field cannon and Congreve rockets. The Americans succeeded in driving off the British and threw the grain and flour into the mill pond. Lyons Creek headwaters were in the Waynflete Marsh. However, they were cut off by the construction of the feeder canal for the Welland Canal. The creek was carried under the canal through a stone culvert. Due to the construction, the water level in the marsh slowly receded. All the while, the culvert was being clogged up by debris. Eventually, the flow in Lyons Creek decreased to the extent when it was no longer able to turn the water wheels at Cook's Mills. The industries were closed and abandoned. Thus, the canal, which contributed greatly to development of Welland, became an indirect cause of an economic recession for Cook's Mills. Later on, Welland beat neighboring communities in the running for the county seat. Cook's Mills became a farming area as opposed to Welland's industrial center. Over time, the apostrophes indicating the possessive in Lyons Creek and Cook's Mills were dropped following a trend in the region exemplified by St. Catherine's and St. John's. On January 1, 1961, the Crowland Township, including Cook's Mills, was incorporated into the city of Welland. By the time of construction of the Welland Bypass in 1967 to 1973, the original headwaters in the Waynflete Marsh have all but disappeared, and most of what flow there was in the creek was coming from an earlier tributary called Indian Creek by some maps. This made Lyons Creek somewhat U-shaped, as Indian Creek flowed west before joining the original Lyons Creek. During the bypass construction, the creek was cut into 3 parts, and now what was once Indian Creek flows into the canal. A couple kilometers north, Lyons Creek is fed directly from the canal. The middle part of the creek dried up and much of its bed was torn up during the construction of approaches to the Town Line Tunnel. In a recent development, a study on the pollutants in the Niagara River done in 2000 found the organic pollutants polychlorinated biphenyls to be present in the Lyons Creek. The Ontario Ministry of the Environment is investigating the source of PCBs and possible remedial actions to deal with contaminated sediment. Geography. The Welland Bypass Channel separates Cook's Mills from the main urbanized area of City of Welland. The most direct ways of crossing the channel are the Main Street and Town Line tunnels. Built-up areas in Cook's Mills are located close to the roads. The rest of the area consists mainly of wooded lots and fields. The Niagara Road 27, commonly known as Shisler Road, linking Welland and Niagara Falls, runs to the north of the center of the community, and Highway 140 runs to the west, while Montrose Road runs to the east, and Netherby Road runs to the south. The main area of Welland is located to the west. To the east is Niagara Falls, to the north is Thorold, and to the south is Port Colborne.